don't have any such things to put up in CV. They are new to this. How
Sorry for interrupting, but the thing is, I was lucky enough I didn't get into top college.
coming to your experiences, like starting from Bombay High Court senior counsels and to Supreme Court of India.
Even though the research paper ends, the law does not. I think within a month they issued out a clarification and whatever issues that I had raised were clarified. In these cases, you don't have to go on and read the section and be like, okay, my client did not do this. So who is happy at the end of the day? No one. The road is not straight. There are potholes throughout. There have been gaps in my CV as well.
Mindset is the most powerful thing that would make them start.
You are not a victim. You're just useless. If you're just sitting at home, then that's useless. Because you're still in college. Life is not ended for you. From my experience, no.
So, welcome to Law with Janvi. I'm glad that you are here today sharing your valuable time and your efforts behind this. And I know it's been a long, like, we have been quite postponing this podcast, but yeah, we did it. First of all, welcome to you. Like, I would love to hear your journey from your law student to particularly running behind all the courtrooms, like going towards the Supreme Court, going to international exposures, Harvard Law School, and everything. I would love to hear your journey. Just introduce me about yourself first.
I'm Hussain Khatri and I have just given my semester 10 examinations, awaiting results by the end of this month, which is June 2025. And I started my law school during COVID. So initial 4 semesters were all online and I couldn't have much exposure during that time. But when my law school reopened, I was everywhere. I was in every single function. But after I think third year, after second year, I started interning. That's where my internship journey started. And I spent a year at trial court interning under senior advocate, not designated, but a reputed senior advocate, Mr. Deswani, wherein I learned the nuances of the trial court, which is very essential, which I feel is very essential in a lawyer's life. So subsequently, I did a summer school in China in IPR, and then I was with Justice Dere, who is judge of Bombay High Court, senior most judge of Bombay High Court. And after that, I went to Supreme Court under Justice Oak, who retired last week. And I was with Chief Justice of India. Subsequently, in between, I was interning with senior advocates, additional solicitor. Subsequently, I interned with additional solicitor general, wherein I finalized that taxation is where my interest lies, and I interned with Trilegal. I also completed a course in IPR from Harvard Law School, which was completely funded by World Intellectual Property Organization. And subsequently, I've been interning at Lakshmi Kumar and Sridharan, which is a tier 1 taxation law firm in India.
Coming to your experiences, I have seen that you have your diverse legal experiences, your international exposures. So, what do you think like inspired you to follow this journey? Like, how did you get serious about this career? And first of all, why did you choose this career particularly? Like from the start, can you describe it? How did you choose this career, and what aligned you to this?
So, throughout my life, regardless of my school teachers and my college teachers telling me that I was built for law, I did not pay any heed. So, as many others who scored good in 10th standard, took up science because I wanted to do engineering. But after 11th, I think I found out that this is not where my interest lies. So my friend, who is a barrister in UK, took up law, and my mom said, "Do you want to take up law?" I said, "I want to do anything which is not engineering."
Okay.
So it was by luck and fluke I took up law, and then everyone I meet, and like, okay, I'm doing science, but I don't plan on continuing. I'm gonna take up law. Like, oh my God, amazing! Thank you. You finally decided in taking law. And I'm like, okay, chalo, theek hai.
Huh.
By God's grace, that was where my interest and my career lied.
It quite aligns me with my journey too. I was previously doing engineering, like continuing with that. Okay, in that first semester, I realized that this is not my interest where lies in. So I shifted to law.
True.
But do you have any background in like particular this career in law?
No, I mean, you mean my family background?
Yeah.
No, no, no. I'm a complete first-gen lawyers. Both my parents are academicians. So I have an academic background, but nothing in law per se.
Pretty much your own efforts and determination that allowed you to this.
My parents' prayers, God's grace.
Even your cover page in LinkedIn, I saw it was like on a mission. So what that mission aligns you? Like what's that particular mission that you have been working on?
My mission has always been never to be intermediate. Like I want to be on that top level wherever I am. So like achieving something that is not like there are steps, but there's always the destiny which keeps changing, which keeps growing. So like if I reach a point that is not it for me, okay, you celebrate, you be happy, but then you keep on moving, you change, keep on leveling up. So that is the mission. That mission never stops. That mission, I don't want a specific position to be that mission. But yeah, there are missions that are accomplished. There are steps that are taken to accomplish that. But that keeps on changing. That keeps on upgrading as I grow as a person.
Yeah. Can you describe your feeling like coming to your 5th year, like completing all your semesters? What's that feeling that comes to you in your mind now?
I am happy because I'm happy. I'm nervous. I am excited because I'm starting a new step of adulthood, to be precise, because this is the position where your parents and everyone around you expects you to be in a position to to start earning and all that. So I'm excited, nervous to step into the real world, coming out of the eggshell as a law school and schools that we have been a part of throughout our life. But all in all, fun, excited, looking forward to it.
So pretty much good. Like your journey is really good. Coming to your experiences, like starting from Bombay High Court senior counsels and to Supreme Court of India. Like what were the steps that aligned you to this dreaming career? Like we law students, as in coming to first year, coming to even the third year students like us. Like we always look up to, interning under CGI and interning under Supreme Court of India. So what was your little steps like that aligned you to that career, like in Supreme Court of India?
To be honest, it was never through recommendations, but I always kept on applying regardless of what position I am. So like initially I was at trial court for 1 year, but then even though I was in trial court with 1 year experience at a single place, I did courses, I did virtual internships. So that helped me fill up my CV a bit. Not completely, because at the end of the day, when you are interviewed, you will have to stand up to what you write in your CV. So as soon as those positions started coming in, as soon as I upgraded, I went up to the High Court judge. So that took place in a position which was an online internship. So that got removed. Subsequently, you keep applying. That is all. You don't sit idly. And to be precise, my experiences, I have always been able to stand up to what I've written in my CV, which helped me crack up those interviews, which a lot of people, even though they have fancier names and firms in their CV, weren't able to stand. So that helped me get all those bumps to High Court, to Supreme Court, and further on.
Oh.
So keep working, keep learning, and that's
like where do you, like completely a fresher who is hearing to you right now, how would he start, or he or she would start, like coming to your internships, or should they choose courses, or should they go for research writing or something like that, research papers?
So research, regardless of you going for an internship or planning on taking up courses, research writing has to be done mandatorily on the side. That is not an option to be chosen between the two. Courses, I feel, depends on which organization you're taking from, but that's not a replacement for real life internship. So internships, if your college permits, if you have that attendance criteria, you keep on applying because by luck or fluke, there might be vacancies in tier one firms and they might take you. So I will not restrict anyone who has not done any internship to not apply, but because from personal experiences, I have sent out 100 emails since my third year to every single law firm that existed. So everything must be explored, you must not restrict. And courses, if you're not spending substantially, because I never did, all my summer schools and courses were completely funded. So if that opportunity comes up, then you should never miss that regardless. So because I have all these courses from in intellectual property, but I don't plan on pursuing that. But still, it's a good name, it's a good title, it's a good exposure. No knowledge is wasted. So keep learning, keep exploring opportunities. And yeah.
Coming to your scholarships, how to get that? Can you describe it?
So these organizations themselves post about these opportunities, and you have to, like every other college application, you have to fill those up. If you are shortlisted, then well and good. If you're not, then
Is there any eligibility criteria regarding like the research papers should be written or academic criteria?
so all these are there for LLMs, but for the courses that I did, they they require you to have some basic knowledge about intellectual property. Because I'm talking about intellectual because that's where I know, but like basic knowledge about intellectual property, some because they don't expect a complete flesh shut to be funded by them who has no idea about what they're learning. So nothing major, they don't expect you to be an expert, but prior exposure is always well appreciated.
Prior exposure, are you talking about internship particularly or any other courses or research papers?
Courses as well. Courses as well. Considering those are reputed.
Okay. Coming to your journey of this Supreme Court of India, how did you go through that? Like, what was the environment there? How did you like get there and everything? This thing.
So after my internship with Justice Dere, I applied with multiple judges at the Supreme Court of India. I was very lucky enough to be getting into the chambers of Justice Oak. I was interviewed among with the students, but luckily I was able to crack that interview. I was able to explain and match the criteria which they were expecting, which is to brief and to make a brief. So, because Supreme Court internships, as an intern to a judge, they expect you to learn how to summarize the crux of a case, which is like 200, 300, 700 pages, for the justice who has around 50 matters per day or 70 matters per day. So, for their assistance, you have to read the case in its entirety because it is a tedious task to read 700 pages. You'll have to find out what is the crux of the matter, summarize that crux in a single page, and be able to narrate that to the Honorable Justice is what they were looking for. So my prior experience with Justice Dere came in handy, and I was able to crack that interview. Subsequently, because this is the entire dynamics of Supreme Court. Supreme Court being majorly an appellate court, the senior counsels as well as honorable judges expect you to find out the crux of the matter and be able to brief them.
Okay.
So that is where everything and the exposure, to be honest, the highermost court, judicial court in our country, and you meet a lot of people with amazing knowledge, vast amount of knowledge in diverse fields. So the exposure, plus you come across interns of different judges, different senior advocates, you interact, you know, you learn, you help yourself find out paths which you wanted to explore, which you didn't know how to explore. So it's an amazing opportunity, and overall the environment is completely friendly. Yeah, like everyone is majorly mostly approachable. So all in all, fun and a very learning experience.
From the conclusion that I can derive from your experience in Supreme Court is that law is not only about knowing, it's about learning things. And going in depth in it, only then you'll get this opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely. You never stop learning as a lawyer. Even my school is ending, but I'm still a student of law.
And even there is a mindset regarding like students, they'll think about कि यार मैं अच्छे college में नहीं हूँ, तो I can't get into this all these firms like top legal firms and not going to the Supreme Court. How will I get there as a first generation? There are quite many questions, but you bursted all that myths.
So, sorry for interrupting, but the thing is, I was lucky enough I didn't get into top college because I have a lot of people texting me on LinkedIn. They're like, we only have 2 months and we want to apply to tier one firms, but we are unable to get in. So that attendance stringent criteria, which all these tier one colleges have, turned out to be a boon that I didn't get in because all my internships, which I did, were during odd timings, which were during college days, and my college supported me throughout. So that also came out to be a boon. But to be honest, even if you get into a tier one college, it's not a bad thing because if you are just sticking to the book, getting top 10 ranks in a tier one college, and then uh, you apply to a firm for a position of an associate and you get those tier one firms because you have the rank and you have the college. So, like, it's a two-way street. You get experience from a tier three college and be able to stand up to it, or you stick to the books in a tier three college and be able to stand, a tier one college and be able to stand to it.
Like you very well explained everything. It was very relatable to my journey. And even like coming to your experiences of everything, like how do you manage both the things like academics and particularly this internships? Because we as a college students, we know there's an entrance criteria and you do not do for this.
So that is a tedious task. You would just give up on your personal life to a certain extent, going out with friends and all that. So, I mean, while I was interning, I also knew that I'm still a student and I have a semester to clear. No, a backlog will not go nicely with all those names that I have in my CV. So, after internships or in between internships, if I could get an hour or two, I would make up notes. I would go through previous year question papers and try to get what were the important questions and all that. So, uh, throughout these internships, it's a task to manage. Like, if you have an hour, like rather than watching Netflix, you open a textbook, go through some two, three topics, underline. So, when you're revising during examinations, like, oh, I've gone through this concept and it's just a revision subsequently. So, that is how you manage. There's no code or secret time that opens up between
What
internships.
keeps you motivated in this journey? Like coming to the sacrifices.
Motivated is the goal, the mission. That is always the motivation for me. Because I know my capabilities and I understand that I am not here to be a mediocre and not here to be a tier three advocate. So, being grateful and humble with that mindset, I keep moving forward, and that's the motivation that I have.
Any idea about research papers and everything that you have published? Can you talk about it, like how to start writing? And
So, initially, you find a topic that interests you or a topic that has been going on recently, which is in trend. So, you research about that. Initially, start writing blogs because they are 1500 words, mostly 1,000, 1500 words, which are easy to write. You research on it, you research what has been, what will happen, and try to articulate your opinions with respect to comparing the opinions of people who have written about it. You're like, okay, XYZ said this about that. So, like, this judgment about tax will have an implication on the general anti-avoidance rules in a certain way, or this is contrary to the judgment of the Supreme Court, which will have such implications if it is set as a precedent if the Supreme Court does not overrule this case. So you try to articulate all those with respect to whatever you found on the internet, because we living in this era have the advantage of internet and multiple research papers we can go through. So trying to articulate your opinions in those 1,000 words initially, and then subsequently bumping it up because you've chosen a topic which has more to be written on, more to be explored. So that is how you start. It's not a complex task per se. It's just your opinion being articulated in a way that the world appreciates it and someone learns from it.
Also, you have been assisting like senior most judges with this issue also, like sub-classification with SCs and STs. So how did you manage all that opinion, like formed an opinion, share your views? Because this is like a complex issue. How do you balance your opinions in such cases?
So, sub-classification, I was not with a judge. I was with the advocate on record, Mr. Shadan Farasat, who was the arguing counsel for the case. So, the environment in that room where you are with a senior counsel and associates who are from a tier one colleges and have experiences, who have worked with judges who are law clerks. So when that area comes in, and then that in the moment where you are exploring ideas and opinions, you try to articulate your own, you try to reason with them. If you have something, it has to be backed up with reasoning and logic and law. So even though as a student I did not have much to say, but whatever I did was appreciated in that. So I'm very grateful for Mr. Shadan Farasat, who gave me that opportunity, which was appreciated and also discussed before the court. But yeah, you being able to form that opinion with law and logic and then being able to present, no one will put your word down in a good office. They will always appreciate if you're able to back it up, because at the end of the day, we are going to present to the court what is logic, what is law, with precedence. So if you're able to back that up, that is then. I mean, it's in the moment where various ideas are being brought up, and then you put up your opinion, what you think about someone else's idea, what is your idea, and what someone else thinks about it. So discussion, brainstorming is how it is argued before constitutional benches.
Coming to your taxation law interest, so there are myths in taxation law too. People think taxation law is only for CAs who have in-depth knowledge of it. They need to pursue different career in it and then go for this. So can you burst that myth?
True, it is for tax lawyers, but to be honest, if you build up that knowledge through experience and courses, you being able to reason with a case that has been presented to you, and also be able to put out law and discuss law in certain ways, and also the accounts part of that, because we have that thing as well. We have to look into accounts, we have to look into classification. Classification is a law thing, so that if you are into the classification, which I think is only for customs in taxation, you will be able to do well. But if you are on the GST end, if you're on the income tax end, you might need to have certain commerce background per se, or an experience which you have learned and gained, and through books, through experiences, through internships, through discussions, through YouTube per se. So if you have that knowledge with you, there's nothing that is going to stop you. No CA degree is required in that sense. So because there is a competition from CA, because law is a very easy degree as of now in India. You decide one day, you give CET the other, and then 3 years later, boom, you are a lawyer. So CAs, considering they've studied a lot, law for them is not a hard course to complete. So yeah, but you need a certain economic background, experience to be able to get into taxation, or you learn, you adapt, and you don't get stuck in between. There are multiple, if you have good seniors, they won't have a problem in teaching you that. But yes, if you're learning well, you need that kind of economic experience.
Okay. Like coming to your this thing. Stuff like even GST and even income tax also you have been forming your opinions on it and writing the research papers. What have you learned at that research? Like, can you describe something that you discovered new, like completely new thing that you discovered by researching?
Completely new thing is that tax is ever evolving. One day you wake up thinking the law is X, and the next day government passes a notification, the law becomes Y. So, because in income tax and service tax, so GST right now, you have those uh, tribunals and uh, boards which keep passing and amending laws and having discussions. So the dynamics of the law and the opinions that they opine, that keeps changing. So you have to always study, because when I wrote the paper, the law was X. The board gave out their opinion and cleared out what were the ambiguities and lacunas in the rule. So that changed. So subsequently, we'll have to amend that. So, like in GST, there's no end to your research paper. Even though the research paper ends, the law does not. Uh, Considering these are taxes and the revenue of the country depends on that, they are more actively amended and clarified in comparison to other laws in our country. Because this is how the exchequer runs. This is how we see the growth throughout our country. So you have to be very aware. That is what I've learned through my research. It was not something that I learned during, it is something that I learned after, because I think within a month they issued out a clarification, and whatever issues that I had raised were clarified. So basically, that became null. So, all in all, learning and keeping yourself updated to the precedents that Supreme Court, High Courts give out, and also in respect to taxation, what's the stat decision, what decisions the stat is passing, and CBDT has been giving out.
And you have also been interning in criminal matters also. So can you describe your experiences?
It's not learning about law more, it's more learning about the case, the fact to fact cases more. Because there are certain laws which are applied in a bundle, every single case. If it's a domestic violence case, you will have domestic violence application, you will have 498A, and all those dowry sections. But how to tackle them with the facts of single cases? Because in such cases, you have to rely on the precedents that have been set early on. Because in these cases, you don't have to go on and read the section and be like, okay, my client did not do this. It'll be like, in this scenario, the apex court or the high court said that this does not amount to dowry harassment and all that. So this does not amount to harassment. So this is what you learn in criminal matters. Plus the people are high on temperature, high in anger. Either they are helpless because they've been arrested, or they're angry because their wife has been alleging XY, where that was not the case. I kept her happy. Why is she going on and saying that I harassed her and all that? My mother screamed, shouted, we beat her, and all that. So, in these situations, calming your clients down and bringing that faith in judiciary and the legal process, because the grassroots take time to process everything. It's a tedious task. On the law end, you have to look for case laws, you have to research on case laws and precedents that have been set. On the client end, you have to calm them down, be like, okay, I cannot assure you, but we'll try our best. So this is the law. This was the precedent. This is your case. We'll try to argue it. We'll try to reason with the judge, bring them logic, but calm yourself down. There's no point in being all, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. As a criminal lawyer, in criminal exposure, you learn a lot about human being. You learn a lot about being as a person, which on the civil end is not on the extreme. Like criminal, you interact with a lot of people. You learn a lot about humans and clients.
Where do you see yourself in next year? Like you have already completed all your journey, like 5 years as an intern in various.
There are a lot of plans in picture. There are a lot of things in play. There are a lot of moments being made. But all in all, like in the next 5 years, I see myself practicing, staying in litigation for sure, with a few more titles to be added, and hopefully in taxation. So, because that is where I see myself in the higher courts
So,
of the countries.
how did you develop this interest in taxation? Is there a particular alignment that you could share about?
Because when you're interning with Supreme Court judges, even though there's a roster, it's a more generic roster. Lucky for me, Justice Oak had a lot of taxation matters, which, lit my pulp. Like, okay, this is interesting. I want to explore this area, which I subsequently did while I was interning with Trilegal, which confirmed that, okay, this is fun. And it was seal proof done when I was interning with the Additional Solicitor General and I briefed him on matters of national concern. So that is where I'm like, okay, this is something that I can do regardless of the fact that I don't have a tax background. And I don't see myself being stuck in a loophole where I am just trying to figure out those complex tax words. Like, okay, this is something that I can do. And by God's grace, I was able to do that. That's it.
Okay. Brilliant conversation. Like you have been sharing everything with so much honesty. I'm glad that you joined the session. And also, I have seen it nowadays, like people now, they are distracted towards the career. They're not aligned like we all are. Like even coming to you, like you started very early. I have seen your journey from school to your whole law journey coming to looking up to your LinkedIn only. It was like quite public speaking oriented and leadership skills. You developed it on it. But as a fresher, like even third year law students as a fresher, they are starting from now, but they are not serious. They are meant to start, but they don't have any clarity. Like I have been mentoring them. So I have seen like they are like they don't know what to do exactly in law and they are very confused regarding as a first generation lawyer, you can't do this, you can't do that. Very advice that you would give to such people. What would that be?
The advice would be you can always play the victim. You can always blame the circumstances. Because I'm at X position, I cannot be Y. I cannot reach that level. But there is no substitute to hard work. There is no substitute to those tireless nights. So if you are ready to give in that and not play victim to because I have faced rejections, I've faced hardships myself. If I would have taken that loss and they're like, oh my God, I cannot move ahead, because that is what, according to what you said, people are doing. But if you do that and then you're like, oh my God, I cannot do this. Oh my God, I got rejected. What will I do? Oh my God, I don't have a godfather in this legal fraternity to roll the hand around my head. If you do that, you are going to go nowhere. But if you keep pushing, you keep trying, you don't, every single acceptance, you go to that place, you learn regardless of that place not having a fancy name. You keep moving, you keep trying, you keep learning. There is no substitute to hard work and learning. And at the end of the day, you have to stand up in front of people and you have to back that knowledge, that place up. Because I have myself seen people from tier one colleges from Maharashtra who have callback internships from tier one firms don't know basic logic about litigation. So that is where you lose uh, respect in front of a tier three college, such as myself, a student from a tier three college. We were not able to back up to the knowledge and the title that you have in your CV. What's the point? End of the day, you're going to get that position after you clear the interview, after you're able to give those uh, stamp and verify that I've learned this, I've done this, and yes, I am in front of you to be able to verify whatever I've written in my CV and whatever I'm speaking about myself.
Some of them they say they don't have any such things to put up in CV. They are new to this. How do they start the first internship? These are the basic things that they think of.
Starting, there's always a lot of hash and bash about starting. You apply to every single firm that pops up in front of your eye. You see an advocate practicing in trial courts, you go to them, you start, and then you build connections with them. You're like, sir, I have learned so much. Help me out. Put my name, recommend someone, because legal fraternity is very well connected, and no one, in my opinion, will be of the opinion that no, you are my intern. You're not going to go to a higher place. You're not going to leave me. Then that is a horrible boss. Leave that and join some other place. But everyone wants you to learn. Everyone, there are good human beings around you. They'll help you reach those places. You just have to start. You cannot play victim, which even my batch, and from what you're saying, your batch is doing this. Like tier one colleges have that cry that we have 75% attendance criteria, we cannot intern. They are crying about that. We are crying that we are from a tier three college, we cannot get internship. So who is happy at the end of the day? No one. You just have to keep trying and get into places.
That was a major piece of advice that everyone would love to hear that from you. Like showing up daily. You like being a very hardworking, doing your in-depth work, motivated, self-motivated. Even this law school journey is not even easy as
precisely.
Yes, it is not easy like as it seems. Like as you said, keep law easy, like doing this, but going in-depth and really doing such a big amount of achievements like you is a very hardworking person behind it. It's not कि वो हाथ में मिल गया. Like people say ना कि somebody who is having a background, they get it in their hands, like their father would do it or their grandparents would do it, but you were a completely major mythbuster कि yes, first generation law students also can do much like good achievements. Number of achievements like I can't even count of yours, and even diverse experiences. Like, glad to connect you. It was such a brilliant conversation having with you. Anything that you would add? Like,
thank you. I would just like to reiterate: just keep trying, keep applying. Don't be disheartened or don't step down because you faced hardships. Because the road is not straight. There are potholes throughout. So bumps and straightaways will come in your way. But obviously, that's life. That's not just law. That's life in general. So if you don't want to live life, then you're in the wrong planet. But you just have to keep applying, keep trying, keep working hard, keep learning. There's no, if you're not getting internships, you go through YouTube, you learn how to write an article, you start writing article, you start publishing. You can do that. Why do you want to sit at home and play victim? So that can be done. You can go into moot competitions, you can explore, you go into college, you learn from professors, you speak to them. That is also something that you can do. If you're just sitting at home, then that's useless. Unless you have some other options. You have like family background, like your family is well to do and you're just doing the degree because to do a degree. Then you are not a victim. You're just useless. So
mindset is the most prior thing that would make them start.
Mindset, hard work, and just going forward. Yeah.
Have you ever felt lost in this journey, like your dedication, hard work, showing up daily?
Multiple occasions. you because there have been gaps in my CV as well. So I mean, you obviously you're a human. You get that feeling. Okay, uh, if if it's been a month and you've not gotten reply from some firms, and you're just sitting idly at home, you're like, oh my God, what am I doing? Is it that? That's it. I am not getting any more internships. Is it done? Oh my God. Like, was the High Court judge the peak? That's it. Now I'll go back to trial court. So the Supreme Court judge was the peak, or CJ was the peak. I'm still not getting internship. But in that moment, if you stick with that mentality for longer, you're going to be a victim. Now, if that is what you're happy with, then good for you. That's not me. But then I started writing research papers. I started learning through YouTube. I did summer school. I did Harvard. So doing that, there are multiple. You're in an AI era. You just have to learn. You keep learning. You just keep going forward. So yeah, in that opportunity, you get that mindset. You get that when you're sitting at home for a longer duration, for a month or so. But if you be that victim and keep that mentality intact, then nothing's good coming out of you. But in that moment, I started going to colleges regularly. I started writing research papers. I used to interact with Bhushan sir a lot. So that is where you learn and appreciate. You learn knowledge, you learn classroom knowledge, which is also important. You prepare yourself for semester examinations. So that is being done because you're still in college. Life is not ended for you.
Do marks matter?
Yes, I learned that the hard way. They do. You, I mean, I'm not telling you to get like be the topper of the class. If you are, then very good. But they do to a certain extent. Which, like, if certain things plan out, we'll figure it out. Like, yes, they do. If you want to plan your masters abroad, they look for those marks. They look apart from experience.
Even for internships, do marks matter? Like CGPAs?
From my experience, no. If you have that backing, but if you don't, like you'll have to balance things out. You cannot be null and void and then be like, okay, I want to get into tier one. So they do to a certain extent. From what mentality I had till my fourth year was marks do not matter because I have elitist titles of internships in my CV. So for marks is something that I don't have to care about. But I learned the hard way that marks also matter. So yes,
That's an inside conversation. Glad that you joined us. It was
yes.
pleasure hearing from you. It was a great experience.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you. And that was me. And all the best to you. All the
All
best
the
to
best to you
people who
too.
are listening to this. And looking forward to more brilliant titles for Vivekanand here on.
Even from you, we have given so much good titles to Vivekanand College.
Thank you, thank you.